Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome once again to our session on developing your LinkedIn strategy by Stella da Silva. So quick introduction. My name is Mary Lania. I work internationally as an Agile coach, and I am the convener of the Niger Professional Group. Now, what is this group all about? It is a melting pot of Nigerian professionals, an opportunity to showcase ourselves as professionals individually and collectively, an opportunity to leverage collective knowledge and experience, mentor upcoming young professionals, create opportunities for collaboration, just like we're doing right now, give of our expertise to the community and beyond as a corporate social responsibility. And of course, you are most welcome to join us if you are a Nigerian professional. We are present on Facebook and LinkedIn, and the link will be shared at the end of the presentation. Now, Stella da Silva. She is an international consultant, and it is with great pleasure that I introduce her to this session. She works as an expert in vocational education. She's currently located in Oman, where she's working with the CEO of an organization. And as you all know, those of you who know her very well, she is a LinkedIn enthusiast, which is why we have her here today. And then we had a session 2 days ago. Some people missed it and they said, you know what, we need to do this again. So here we are one more time. And of course, we can't do this without talking about COVID-19. It has been very dark. It has been, it has come at a huge cost to humanity. It has affected everyone one way or the other. But in the midst of all of this, can you please mute yourself, please? In the midst of all of this, we have also seen the beautiful side of humanity, okay? Where we have been looking out for each other, helping the vulnerable, checking out on one another, and having our key workers actually put their lives on the line for us. So this is just an opportunity to recognize them and thank them. Now, a quick check-in. Let us know where you're calling from. Let us know how you're feeling at a time like this. It's been, locked down for almost 2 months now. How are you feeling? How are you coping? And where are you calling from this afternoon?
You can put all this in your chat so we can see where people are calling from. We know that Allah is calling from Scotland. Trevor, hi Trevor from Nottingham. Jennifer is calling from London. Ungozi's London. Okay, the chats are now going all over the place, so I can't see what's going on.
Jumoke is calling from Lagos, Nigeria.
Maggie is calling from Lagos, Nigeria. Adarise is calling from Nigeria. Treasure, Nigeria. So we've got a lot of Nigerians. Nkechi is calling from Lagos. Abuja. Sharon Williams is in the UK. So we've got people from all
India.
over.
We've got Rahul from India.
Rahul from India. Hello, hi.
You're welcome.
Hello, hi, how are you guys?
Olu Bolade is calling from Manchester. So we've got an audience from literally all over the place.
South Africa.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So we've got Fumi from South Africa, Lem from Bahrain, my next door neighbor Lem from Bahrain. So everybody, you're absolutely welcome. And no, we can't shake hands, so it's all about the fist pumps and the elbow greets. So Samira, I see Samira there from Nigeria at the moment. Hi Samira, thank you for coming. I know it's so much pain. So thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So you are all welcome. Thank you for being here today. So quick housekeeping. It is going to be a recorded session, so we're actually recording right now. And there will be Q&A. During that Q&A session, we ask that you put your questions in the chat box. And we will also have some polling from time to time. We also ask that you please participate. And where possible, where we want to interact with you, we will definitely unmute you. And at the end, we're going to take a selfie. And of course, like I said, we will let you know where the recording will be. So at this point, I believe I'm going to hand over to Stella. So Stella, are you ready?
I am ready. So thank you very much, Mary. Salam alaikum from Oman. I'm learning my Arabic here. Good afternoon. And hello to everybody. Thank you for joining myself and Mary today. And I'm going to just basically talk to you about LinkedIn. And I'm not a LinkedIn trainer, okay? So I want everybody to understand that. But I have secured and generated some great leads through LinkedIn. And that's why I call myself more a LinkedIn enthusiast, because I've been a student of LinkedIn. So I'm going to tell you a bit about my LinkedIn journey so that you can have a true sense of you thinking that you yourself have a space on LinkedIn. So I actually originally registered on LinkedIn in 2009. But I remember when I came on, I just felt it was full of business-like people that I really didn't feel I could connect to back in 2009. So I kind of like left it, went on to Facebook and just carried on with my daily life. In 2017, I then decided, you know what, let me just go and see what LinkedIn is all about. Just out of curiosity, I just went back on it. And I saw there was a shift. I saw there was a change. I saw that LinkedIn wasn't about just putting your CV on it, but you can actually engage and meet different people. So I went back on it in 2017 with probably just about 104 connections at the time. And these 104 connections were people I actually personally knew, because again, I was sort of very reluctant of connecting with people I didn't know, and I didn't know how LinkedIn was going to work in terms of connecting with what I would call strangers, right? So here I was in 2017, and I decided to just talk about what I do. I'm by trade, I guess, I'm a trainer, and I deliver training in quality assurance and education and training. I work with business in terms of communication skills, presentation skills. So my core job really is a trainer, okay? My area of expertise is vocational education. So I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to talk about that. Let's see what happens. So I remember my very first post. I put up a post on LinkedIn, and I probably got about 10 likes at the time. And out of that 10, one of those likes was actually mine. And I probably got 2 people, again, people that I knew, actually engage on my content. But I kept going on, and practically every day from that day, I started putting out content. I started talking about what I did for work, where I have worked, what value I can bring as a trainer. I started to build my network organically, and I'll talk about that very, very briefly. Back in 2017, as I was building up my LinkedIn network, if you like, I had what I would identify as a lurker. And a lurker is somebody who is not connected to you on LinkedIn, doesn't engage with you, doesn't comment, doesn't like any of your stuff, but they're actually watching what you're doing. That's what I identify as a LinkedIn lurker. So I had one of those. Eventually, she reached out to me on DM, and she said, on DM, your feed keeps coming up, your content keeps coming up on my feed all the time. I really like what you're doing, and I would love you to come and deliver some training for us in Saudi Arabia. And I thought, OMG. I'm in London, I was in London at the time, and there's somebody in Saudi Arabia who's resonated with my content, and she wants me to come and work for her in Saudi Arabia. We arranged a Zoom call, and off I was. I went to Saudi Arabia, delivered 3 weeks training in Saudi Arabia, and that was just by me putting content out on LinkedIn. That was it. She wasn't even connected to me, okay? So that was first. on my way back from Saudi Arabia, and while I was in Saudi Arabia, I was still putting out content about what I was actually now doing in Saudi Arabia, right? So while I was doing that, a good friend of mine who actually lives in Oman said, look, Stella, on your way back, just come to Oman for the weekend before you go to London. I was like, oh, Greg, I beg you, I just want to go home. I've been in Saudi Arabia for 3 weeks. I've had to wear an abaya and hijab for three weeks. I just want to go home. He said, just come to Oman for the weekend. You don't have to wear hijab. You don't have to wear abaya. So I popped into Oman for the weekend. I had an amazing weekend. And I remember telling Greg at the time, I remember saying, you know what? We were sat by the marina and we were having a cocktail, a virgin cocktail, because alcohol is not allowed here. And I remember telling Greg, you know what? I'd really love to come and do some work out here. This is one correct place. I like it. I like it a lot. And I just put it out there in the universe. Flew back into London. I get another DM from a lurker who says, Stella, I really want to have a chat with you. I think I have a potential project for you, and let's meet. He was in Malaysia at the time. He was flying into London and we met. I remember meeting him in the February of, I think it was 2018, because it was snowing. It was that day was snowing so badly in London, but we met in King's Cross. So we had a meeting and he was telling me about a project about delivering training to trainers. Yeah, I can do that, no problem. Anyway, he went on for about an hour about this training. And then I said, by the way, where's this training going to be exactly? He goes, oh, Oman. And I was horrified, but in a happy way. I started laughing. And he said, why are you laughing? I said, you're not going to believe this. I was just in Oman last week and I put it out there in the universe that I wanted to come and do some work in Oman. And here you are offering me a potential job in Oman. So the whole of 2018, that from the January to December, I was still based in London at the time. I was flying to Oman every single month to deliver training. So you can imagine, I was on a plane every single month for the whole of 2018. Trust me, I built on some good air miles, okay? And again, I'm sharing all of this with you because all I did was put content on LinkedIn. I engaged with the right people and the right people came looking for my services. That's how it works. There's no magic to LinkedIn. And I'm sure Mary and I will talk about this later on, that there are thousands of LinkedIn trainers, experts, coaches who will charge you a big amount of money telling you how to generate leads. And for me, it's really not rocket science. You just know you just need to know how to put out content and how to engage with the right people. While I was flying in and out of Oman, I had connections connect with me. They wanted LinkedIn coaching. I would offer LinkedIn packages. So I made extra money doing coaching on LinkedIn. I got a speaking gig while I was working in Oman. I actually got another connection contact me and say, look, Stella, I really would love you to come and work with us in Singapore. I took annual leave for my day job here in Oman in December of last year. Off I went to Singapore. Flights paid, everything. And I had a brilliant few days in Singapore. Again, wow, I didn't have to apply for this. Somebody came for me. I was in my lane on LinkedIn. She came to me. So again, I am sharing all of this because when you are there to tell a story, it resonates with people. And that's the whole point of LinkedIn. You are the buy-in, not your products, not your services. So for example, what I do see is I see a lot of people coming on social media, for example, and say, yeah, so this is my phone. And we sell all sorts, we have all sorts of phones and iPhone 10, iPhone 11, this, that, and the other. Well, trust me, if they don't buy into you as a person, the chances are they're not going to buy that mobile phone from you. And that's how LinkedIn works. So again, for those of you on here, if you're thinking I'm going on to LinkedIn tomorrow and I'm going to get an international gig or I'm going to get a client, you are sadly mistaken. You have to build trust. People have got to get to know you as a person first and foremost. Once they get an idea of who you are, what your core values are, how you demonstrate your skills through content, through your engagement with other people, trust me, you will never need to sell whatever it is you're selling directly. The buy-in is you. You're selling you first. And that's how LinkedIn works. And that is how my journey began. So can you now see how enthusiastic I am? Because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, through LinkedIn, I got to work in Saudi Arabia. Through LinkedIn, I got to work in Oman. While I was in Oman delivering training, got headhunted, and I got offered a full-time job. I'm on a 2-year contract here in Oman, living the dream, living the life. All this would not have happened if I wasn't on LinkedIn, if I wasn't engaging, if I wasn't putting out content. None of it would have happened. And this is why you don't need to get all gimmicky, you don't need to get all fancy, you just keep it simple. And I'll talk to you about that moving on. So, Mary, thank you. We're going to run a bit of a poll now because this will give us a good idea of what it is and how we're going to move this session across. So, guys, do you have a LinkedIn account? If you can just press your buttons, and then people are polling in at the moment. Okay, so far, Mary, can you see 97% are saying yes? And 3% are saying no. Okay, now for the 97% of you who've said, yes, I've got a LinkedIn account, what I want you to ask yourself is, how active am I on LinkedIn? What am I doing with this LinkedIn account? Do you just have it for the sake of having it? And for those of you who said no, the 3% of you who said no, why? Why aren't you on LinkedIn? Go and set up a LinkedIn profile, and we are going to show you how to do it. It's quite basic, it's quite straightforward. You telling me, 97% of you telling me you've got a LinkedIn a profile means and tells Mary and myself how we're going to then present this webinar, because I'm sure for the 97% of you who have got a LinkedIn account, I guarantee you probably a very small minority are using it in the way that LinkedIn should be used. Okay? So let's quickly run you through the facts and the figures. Mary, can you take the poll down so I can see the PowerPoints, if that's possible?
I have taken the poll down.
Okay, I've taken it down.
Okay.
One thing I'm not very good at, people, is technology. I'm good at technology. Nah, it's not for me. So anyway, LinkedIn has over 660 million people on it. Now, just let that sink in for just a few seconds. 660 million people on it, okay? So out of those 660 million people, there's a good few million who are very active on LinkedIn every single day. So the question you now have to ask yourself, especially those who are going back on LinkedIn, is how am I going to stand out to attract X amount of people to me? So the thing I thought about when I first came on LinkedIn was, oh my gosh, millions and millions of trainers on LinkedIn. There are millions of trainers who do exactly what I do on LinkedIn. But how can I stand out? How am I going to get people to come to me and not the next trainer doing exactly what I do? The only way I could do that was to be myself. And what I mean by that is not come on LinkedIn and be somebody that I wasn't. Not come on LinkedIn and imitate somebody else. I had to be me. If people buy into me, they're more likely to come and buy into my products or services. Okay? Next one for me, please, Mary. When you start on LinkedIn, you have to start with what you call your profile. Okay? And the main reason is to ensure that you will appear, so that when people search for your name, i.e. Stella de Silva, they are going to find me on LinkedIn. It will take them straight to my profile. So it's very important that those of you, the 97% of you who've got a LinkedIn profile, I guarantee you that probably a good 96% of you, I'm that confident, will need to go and tidy up your LinkedIn profile. Guaranteed. I see it all the time. Okay? And I'm going to show you how. Mary? Mary is doing the PowerPoints for me because I'm having some technical issues my end. So what we have is my LinkedIn profile, okay? And I'm just going to talk you through it because I just want to give you an idea of what you need to do to your LinkedIn profile, okay? So the very first thing, which is pretty obvious, is to put a picture of yourself. People need to see who you are. So what we don't want is to see a picture of your company, a picture of your logo, a picture of you and your husband, you and your wife, you and your children. No, we don't want to see any of that. We want to see you. That's all we want to see on your profile picture. Then at the back of the picture, you have what we call a LinkedIn banner. And a LinkedIn banner is where you can then advertise your services. You can put your logo on your LinkedIn banner. If you are self-employed, if you are a student, you can put anything to suggest what it is you are doing in that particular time in your LinkedIn banner. And for banners, people on LinkedIn actually make money from doing banners, okay? So I have a very young Nigerian boy or a man that I'm working with called Justin. Justin is going to be updating my banner because I feel it needs a bit of updating. My banner at the moment is fine because it suggests that I'm a trainer. So you've got books, you've got pen, you've got a picture of me in a classroom type environment. So people can then see that, yeah, she does something in education, she does something in training. And that banner is your advertising space. If you're a freelancer, for example, you can put your website details in your banner. You can put your telephone number in your banner. So can you see, you can make really, really good use of that banner. When you go onto your LinkedIn, it's the blue space by your profile picture. So that is going to be what we call your first call to action, CTA. Your first call to action for those of you who haven't done a banner, okay, is to go and do one. Because when you connect with me and I see you haven't got a banner, that already tells me that you're quite new to LinkedIn. You haven't been on LinkedIn or you haven't been very active on LinkedIn. Those with banners have been active on LinkedIn. So that's a very good point of reference for me when people come and connect with me. Once I see they don't have a banner, I go, oh dear, newbie. So that's one of the first things I tell them, go and put a banner, okay? So that's the first thing. The next thing you need to do, and I see this a lot on LinkedIn, and again, everything I'm telling you is just what works for me, okay? As I keep saying right from the beginning, I'm not a LinkedIn trainer per se, okay? But I'm doing what works for me. And again, I'm telling you this because I'm not necessarily copying and following the LinkedIn norm, okay? So the next part under your name is what we call the headline, okay? And your headline should be something that wants to make your potential client, your potential employer, your potential supplier, whatever it is, your potential audience to come and look further into your profile. So if you catch them by your headline, it makes you stand out from everybody else who's just put the same generic title, okay? So let me give you an example. On my headline, I'm a trainer. So me being a trainer means that I want to give aha moments to my students, right? I'm all about that light bulb moment when it clicks. So that's what I'm about as a trainer. So my headline says, aha light bulb moments. And then I put with a Stellalicious twist, because I do that in my way of delivering training, which is in a fun, clappers all, and very informal. So I'm again showing you straight away the kind of trainer I am just by putting that in my banner. Because again, somebody reading it is going to say, oh, okay, I see light bulb moments, Stellalicious twist. I want to see what all that is about. Therefore, I am an international trainer with clappers in tow. When I go to deliver training anywhere in the world, I have clappers. Okay? And this is what I use in my sessions, in boardrooms. I'm known to go around with clappers. So again, I just stand out from any other international trainer on LinkedIn, because I'm in fact that when I'm coming to deliver training in your industry, in your institutes, in your companies, I'm bringing clappers in tow. I'm already putting that in mind that, yes, Stella's training is fun. That's what I'm suggesting. And then again,
I want to lie down.
okay, can everybody hear me again?
Stella, can you hear me now? I had
Yes.
to mute somebody who was unmuted. Can everybody
Yes.
please stay muted, please? Damilola, Yola, please stay muted. I've just muted you. Please do not unmute. Stella,
Okay.
I have you back unmuted. Sorry about that glitch. So if you can just go back 1 or 2 sentences.
I'm quickly just going to go back. So I've just said I'm an international trainer with clappers in tow because I use clappers in my sessions. So I'm suggesting that I'm a very fun and very informal type of training, okay? I'm a LinkedIn enthusiast rather than a LinkedIn trainer, because again, there are millions of LinkedIn trainers, okay? I'm just standing out from that big crowd of LinkedIn trainers. And then the last one, I've actually put I'm a troll slayer, because that's what I am. I know how to manage trolls on social media. I kill them with kindness. I kill them with love hearts. And again, it's how to actually manage trolling. And again, I've had people just even from that header, I had a connection reach out to me and say, Stella, I saw one of your posts on trolling. I actually saw you deal with a troll. I want you to come and do a session with my group. Again, from LinkedIn. Didn't know her. I just put out content. A troll came on it. I dealt with the troll, and boom, I got a gig from that, just to come and talk about trolling. Who knew? So can you now see how important just by your profile, you can generate leads. And I haven't even put content out. I'm already generating leads just by my banner, just by my headline, because people already want to go and see what I'm all about. On your headline, you have about 120 characters. So make use of those 120 characters. However, if you do your headline on a mobile phone, you get, I think, an extra few characters. So you're better off, if you really want to sell yourself, to go and do your headline through your mobile phone rather than through a desktop. And again, I say KISS, not that one, but keep it short and simple. Or in my case, because I use KISS as a hashtag, I say keep it Stellaliciously simple. And again, I will talk about hashtags later on. Those are the basics of what you need to do on your profile. Like literally, that is it. And then the next stage, Mary, for the next slide, please. The next stage, or what I want you to think about is, guess what, guys? It really is okay to have fun on LinkedIn. Yes, it's a professional platform, but within that platform, people want to see the fun side of you. People want to see who you are. And just before I get onto the next slide, when you're doing your profile, when you're doing your headline, there's another session where you need to do your about, okay? And just before you start with your content, your about should have facts and figures, not what you're qualified in, not how long it took you to do your master's, your PhD, or whatever. What your about session is you have to tell people what value you can bring to them as a business. What value can you bring to them as a potential employer? That's what you need to do. That's what you need to put in your about session. Tai, can you please put yourself on mute if that's okay? Thank you very much. So that's what you need to do in your about section. Thank you, Tai. So you need to put facts, you need to put figures. Put some color, bring some personality into your about session. And most importantly, have what we call a call to action. Why should people contact you? You need to put that in your about session. For those of you who are not connected to me on LinkedIn, go and connect to me on LinkedIn, okay? Go and start looking at my profile, my about session. There's some good connections on here. Alison is another good connection. She's on here on this webinar. Go and look at her about session. But what I do tell you is don't go and copy and paste people's about sessions, okay? It has to be unique to you and what you've done and what value you can bring as a business, as an employer, as a supplier, whatever it is, okay? As I said, it's okay to have fun. I'm all about fun. I'm all about engaging. I'm about fun at the weekend. So I always keep my content kind of light at the weekend because again, I'm giving my potential clients an idea of what I'm about as a person. It's not all work. Where having fun humanizes you is what I'm trying to say. I don't particularly want to work with somebody who's all about work from Monday to Sunday, and we can't have a discussion about anything else other than work. So to me, logically, it makes sense that I'm going to write something personal. I'm going to give a joke now and again. And then you are going to get a few people who are going to say, oh, say this is LinkedIn. It's a professional platform. Save it for Facebook. No, there's no rules. LinkedIn directly has not sent me an inbox, an email to say I can't put out any content that I want to. And until I get a direct email from the Oga at the top, from the big boss man from LinkedIn, I am going to put whatever content I choose to put on LinkedIn. So don't be dictated by people telling you this is not for LinkedIn. And once I got into that, I began to relax about LinkedIn. I began to think I can speak in my own language. I can speak in a way that I normally speak outside of a social media platform. Because what we're then thinking is, or what I'm thinking in my head is, when people meet me in real life, everything on my LinkedIn aligns with what I'm about in real life. So they're not shocked, they're not horrified and say, well, hang on a second, you're one person on LinkedIn, but I see you now and you're somebody totally different. And that's what you need to start thinking about when you're putting content out on LinkedIn. Next one, please, Mary. Content. We talk about making sure that you put good, strong content. And for me, content sometimes is about storytelling. I find that when I have put very personal stories or very personal stuff that has happened to me through my LinkedIn journey or whatever, a lot more people will resonate on that particular post as opposed to, oh, I'm presenting a webinar on Sunday. I'm going to get a lot more engagement. I'm going to get a lot more engagement from people because they resonate with the story through my content. And that is where you then actually attract your potential clients, potential employers. So it's not always about selling on content. You can attract all these people you want to attract by just putting out content that has nothing to actually do with what it is you're doing. Remember what I said right at the beginning? You are the buyer, okay? And what I'm trying to say to so many of you is you can sell without selling. It's absolutely key. You can sell without selling. And how I sell is through content and through engaging with the right people on LinkedIn. So when I engage with my target audience, when I engage with the right people, I can go and engage on their content, bring something of value through a comment, and that automatically will boost somebody's interest. So every time I'm putting out a comment, for example, all I'm thinking is about, when I put this comment out, how many people are going to read it? And we'll talk about commenting in just a second. But when it comes to content, people always tell me, oh, but I don't know what to write about. And I say, write about the weather. How about that? How is the weather affecting your work psyche right now? Write about that. Because people are going to resonate with the weather and how you're working. If it's bad weather, you probably want to stay in bed. Boom, you've got content. Somebody is going to resonate with you writing about that. Stay up to date with relevant topics. Just a few days ago, I put out a post on LinkedIn about a lady who put out a very inappropriate poster and was demonstrating in the United States. It was quite racist, it was quite controversial. I was livid, I was boiling when I saw it. I did a post about it. That post generated over 30,000 views on my LinkedIn content, okay? It wasn't about work, but it was about work. It was about me selling, but it wasn't about me selling. Because through that, I have generated a lot of interest onto that post. Now, if I was looking for a job, or if I was looking for clients, or if I was looking for a supplier, I can then go and see who's commented on my post. A lot of people who commented on that particular post I'm not directly connected to. This is my chance to go and connect with them. I can go and send them a DM. I can go and thank them for engaging on my content. CEOs, decision makers are on LinkedIn. You can have direct access to them if you engage on content, if you put out good content. I've had CEOs come and engage on my content. I have CEOs who have knocked on my DM door directly. We want you to come and do a talk, this, that, and the other. I've not had to send a CV. I've not had to go through HR. I've not had to go through anybody. I'm talking to them like, okay, John, no problem. When do you want me in? Boom, deal done. So can you now see again how you can connect with the big guns, the decision makers, so easily by just putting out the right content and engaging with them. So post about your work, post about your achievement, post about your challenges. When I'm having a bad day, trust me, the whole world on LinkedIn needs to know I'm having a bad day. The chances are people are going to resonate with what it is that I'm having a bad day about. And people are going to, and I get it all the time, where I get connections going, Stella, thank you for saying it. I was thinking exactly the same thing. I was feeling exactly the same way, but I didn't have the guts to say it. Well, I have, and I just say it in a way that will attract whatever engagement I need. It's, you know, I'm not aggressive, I'm not abusive, but I feel I can talk and just be me. So if I'm having a good day, I'm sharing it. If I'm having a bad day, I'm sharing it. But it can resonate with your audience. The next slide, please.
Before I move on to the next slide, Stella, I have a couple of questions from our audience.
Yeah.
One is, why is it that you don't have a premium account?
Very, very good question. I don't have a premium account because I don't need a premium account. I've generated leads without a premium account. So why should I pay 50 something pounds a month? Do you know how much shopping, how much chicken I can buy for 50 pounds? No, no. You don't need a premium account to generate leads on LinkedIn. A premium account just gives you extra LinkedIn learning that I can get from my connections. I've got good connections like Jessica Jones. I've got good connections like John Esperian, who every time I've got a LinkedIn tool that I'm not familiar with, I just literally go to, John, can you, what's this about? And he tells me for free. So why am I paying for it? If you connect with the right people, there are some amazing connections in my network that give LinkedIn tips on a daily basis for free. You don't need a premium account. Well, I don't. A premium account, I've been to Oman, to Singapore, to Saudi Arabia, to Vietnam. So there you go. I hope that answers that question.
Fantastic response there, Stella. Thank you very much. And then the second question is, how do you know the right people to connect with?
Brilliant question. I connect with people who, one, is in my industry. So if I'm looking for a job, if I'm looking for clients, then it makes sense that I go and connect with those people. You do a search on LinkedIn for whatever profession you're in, and you go and connect with those people. Before you connect with those people, the easiest way to grab their attention is go and comment on their content. Go and boost their ego is what I always tell my clients. So what I do is, if I find somebody that potentially I want to, I want to go and work with, or I want to collaborate with, I go and check out their content. And then I go and put a comment in that, boom, I'm going to attract their attention. So I am going to put a comment that brings so much value that this person is automatically going to go and check who this delicious girl is. Who is she? I like what she just said. She brought something to me. And that's how you start building your connections. You also follow the right people. LinkedIn is full of what we call influencers. I call them LinkedIn gurus, LinkedIn experts. Don't waste your time following influencers who are not going to engage with you. You are wasting your time. However, you can be very strategic. So if, for example, I see a LinkedIn influencer with over 1 million followers, for example, now think how many comments that content is going to generate when they put content out. My strategy is I am going to put one comment on there and I make sure I am going to attract the most likes on that engagement. So that when I'm bringing something of value, maybe 100, maybe 50, maybe 60 are going to like that particular comment that I've put on that major influencers content. Through that, I can then do a search of all those people who have liked that comment of mine, and potentially my client is there. I can then go and connect with them. I can then send them a DM saying, oh, I see that you liked my comment. Thank you for liking it. I appreciate it, da, 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 da. That person is more likely to press the accept button because they know who you are. Yeah, oh yeah, I remember you. You said this, you said that. That's how you build that relationship. So don't just go around sending random DMs to random people. I did that when I first came on. I spent hours sending thousands of personal DMs to people I didn't know, thinking, yeah, but I'm a good trainer. Yeah, you're bound to want my services. Well, why should they respond to me? They don't know who I am. They don't know what I'm about. But what I started doing was I started to go and engage on their content. Then when I went back to request a connection, or when I sent them a DM saying, can I send you my details? Can I send you my CV? They would be like, yeah, please send it. Because we've established that relationship through content and through engagement. And that's why on LinkedIn, it's not just about you being on LinkedIn and telling me you have an account, or you've just, even if you engage on 2 people's content, bring something of value, okay? And that's what you need to do. Okay. So moving forward, because I know we're quickly running out of time.
No, we're good. We're good. While still on the subject of content, what's your view on people who share quotes and affirmations as, you know, as a habit and frequently?
Why? Why are you wasting time sharing affirmations and quotes? Do that on a little post-it note, okay? And stick those affirmations in your room. Because a lot of the time, a lot of you or a lot of people are putting quotes and affirmations that they themselves are not actually practicing. And what value, what real value are you bringing? I'm very unlikely to go and comment and engage with quotes and affirmation because I'm all about action. What value can I bring to the quote that you're trying to give me? Nothing. So again, think about your audience when you're putting out content. If you feel your audience is going to be jeered and motivated by your quotes and affirmations, knock yourself out. It's not for me.
Okay. Thank you very much, Stella. Another one here. I remember when I posted for the webinar, you called me and said, Mary, you need to delete that post and repost it. The reason being that I had put the link for the webinar in my actual text. And you said, Mary, delete it, repost it, and put the link in the content box. Can you explain, you know, further on that?
Let me talk about the comments, and then I'll talk about that when we're talking about the algorithm.
Okay, let me then move on then. Okay.
But remind me,
Okay,
because
I'll do that.
it's a very good question.
Okay.
So after you've put your content, I keep going on about engage, engage, engage. Just putting a like on my content doesn't tell me anything, okay? I'm not likely to go and check. But once you've engaged on my content, I'm likely to go and check who you are, especially if it's somebody new who's engaged on my content. I, for one, will always go and check, because if I'm not familiar with somebody I've been engaging with, then the chances are you're new to my content. Let me go and check you out. And then when I go into your profile and I see a good profile, I see this, I see that, I'm more likely to press that connect button. I'm more likely to want to do business with you. I'm more likely to want to collaborate with you. So it's really important that you engage, you engage, you engage. When you yourself put content out, be prepared to engage with those who have taken time out to engage on your content. So if I know potentially that I'm putting out content where I'm going to get quite a lot of engagement, I give that content time, because I know that I have to respond to every single person who has engaged on my content. And that's why I can build relationships. That's why I get to know the people in my network. And that's where I can refer people to my network, to other people who may need services. So let me give you a good example. I have one of my connections here, Alison. She is a brilliant web designer, very creative. I love her work. She does amazing, she uses amazing colors. And I've gotten to know her so well because we engage quite often on each other's content. So that when somebody's asking me and talking to me about web designing, because Alison is in my radar, because we're always constantly engaging, the chances are I'm going to remember Alison's name and say, you know what, I know the perfect person for that job. Boom, here she is. So again, that is the power of you getting to know your connections. I have another brilliant connection, Colin Tansley. Colin is a cybersecurity expert. I invited Colin to come and give a webinar to my colleagues here in Oman. That is the power of network. And if Colin hadn't made the effort to engage with me and me with him so that we know each other, I know what he's like, I know what he does, the chances are I would have gone to look elsewhere to get an expert in cybersecurity. So again, I love the fact that I have built a network of people in different industry, but because they comment, because we regularly engage on each other, there are just a few people that just always stand out in my mind when I'm looking for somebody to do something or when somebody else needs a referral. I know a lot of my connections because we're regularly engaging, we're regularly writing comments, bringing something of value. So again, this is what we mean by engagement. It is really important on comments. Don't just write things like, well done, good share, I like it, I love it, good post. You're not bringing anything about yourself into that comment. Your comment, again, is almost advertising space. You can literally sell your products or services within a comment if you do it correctly. I have had clients come to me because I have commented on a second connection's content, on a third connection content. We're not even connected, but because they've seen my content, they've seen the value I've brought into that content, they've come to connect with me. That's what we mean by engagement. Engagement doesn't mean love hearts and these one, two sentences. Otherwise, don't bother to comment, move on. That's what I say. So again, really think about how you're commenting. Really engage with those people who you want to grab their attention with. Again, back to square one. The buy-in is you. The buy-in is you. And lastly, don't be aggressive. Don't be too salesy. Don't constantly talk about you all the time, even though you are talking about you all the time. There's a clever way of engaging with people without overselling. So this is what we mean. Engage, engage, engage. It's not rocket science, people. It really isn't. This is how I have generated leads. Okay, I've not bought any tools. I've not done any carver. I've not done any fancy and nothing. Words, me. I've put it out there. That's all you're gonna get. And if you don't like it, somebody else will. Trust me. That's the power of engaging with the right people at the right time. When you're putting out content, think about your audience. Think about your clients. If I've got clients in America, then I am going to put out that content on American time. If I've got clients where time zones are varied, I am going to think I need to put the content at the right time. So sometimes putting content in the morning is not the best time. Putting content at night is not the best time. Depending on the type of content you're putting out, the type of business you want to attract, the type of clients you need to attract, go and check time zones. If you're looking at the American market, the time zones are different. If you're looking into Europe, the time zones are different. I'm in the Middle East, the time zones are different. But because I'm not necessarily looking for clients or anything, I tend to put out my posts between 9 and 12 UK time. Because again, that's when I get most visibility. So all these things you're having to think about is not just about putting content out there. Think about the timings you're going to put your content out there. Next slide. Mary, this is where your question came in about putting links and about sharing posts. And Olufemi Shonuga, I'm not sure if he's on here, he should be. He actually shared my post earlier on about this webinar, okay? So he was on LinkedIn and he shared my post. But by sharing my post, the LinkedIn algorithm doesn't like people sharing posts. So again, I know a lot of you do it. A lot of you, trust me, I am so flattered that people deem my posts, you know, brilliant to share. But what you're actually doing is promoting me, and you're not promoting yourselves. By sharing my post, you're getting your connections to actually come and look at me. Okay, that's first thing. Secondly, LinkedIn is not going to even show a lot of your connections that particular post you are sharing. Okay, the author has already put that post out for the world to see. LinkedIn doesn't want you to go and start sharing the same thing over and over again. So, Olufemi, if you go and check your post again after this session, you will see that it's probably just me who's interacted with that particular share. Okay? LinkedIn doesn't like it. So if you feel that you want to share somebody's post, like if you feel you want to share my post, what I suggest is you can summarize what I have put out, okay? Of course, it will be nice that you credit the author of that post that you're summarizing. So you could tag that person, for example, okay? And then bring your own spin into that post. So it becomes your post, it becomes your content. And then you're more likely to generate engagement. But if you just keep on sharing posts, you're not going to generate any engagement. You're probably going to get 1 or 2 likes at best. Pata pata, last, you'll get 5 likes. You're not going to generate a lot of engagement by sharing posts. So that's the first thing. Secondly, if you're putting content out, do not share links within your content. Don't put links within your content. And this is why Mary asked that question. When initially she was sharing about the webinar, she put the links to the webinar within the content. And I knew straight away that was not going to generate any engagement. So what I told Mary to do was to delete the whole post, repost it, and put the link into the comments box. And I will tell you why. If you put links within your content, LinkedIn believes you are driving traffic away from the LinkedIn platform. So if you're putting your website link, if you're putting a YouTube link, if you're putting a Zoom link onto within your content, then LinkedIn are going to say, no, we're not going to show this. We're not going to show this content out. We're not going to show it to a mass audience because potentially you're driving people away from LinkedIn. LinkedIn want you, remember from that first slide, LinkedIn is a business. LinkedIn want you to stay in LinkedIn. So the way you get around it, where you get around the algorithm is to put the links in the LinkedIn box. Now, what I did for this webinar was I put it on my post, okay? I talked about the webinar. I put the link in the comments box. Once I had attracted all the audience I wanted to attract, then I edited and put the link back onto the actual content. So after I've attracted as many of my audience that I want, then I could go back and then put the link in because I just wanted a few more people to register at last minute. So that's how you play around the LinkedIn algorithm. LinkedIn is more powerful than you. So that's another thing you need to remember. We don't know everything about the LinkedIn algorithms. And I check with some LinkedIn experts. I go, what's going on? Why isn't my post attracting business? Why is this? Why is that? If you put a video content out, you're not going to get as many views, for example, as you would if you just put a worded or text content out. So these are the things you need to start thinking about when you're putting content out. Vary your content, put videos out. She says, though I hate doing self videos, but I encourage it. If you've got the guts to do it, do self videos. Promote your other connections. Talk about your other connections. Talk about the good work they do. Talk about how your other connections have helped you. That's the whole point of building a real organic network. I've seen people have thousands and thousands and thousands of followers. I go and look at their content. They've put out content, 10 people have liked it. And I just think, how can you have so many followers and people are not engaging with you? I think to date, I've got about, I don't know, I think 18,000 followers. But on a daily basis, I've got a good level of engagement and I always attract every single day. I always attract at least a good 10, 20 people wanting to connect with me. And lastly, when I go and connect with people, a new trick that I've just kind of like thought about is when they send me a DM, sometimes when I respond, because I respond to DMs, sometimes what I then do is I then go and comment on the very last post that they've done. And again, that is just nice. That's just courtesy. And again, I've had really positive feedback that go, oh, wow, Stella, thank you for commenting. I wasn't expecting you to do that. And again, potentially that is a client. That is an employer. That is somebody that might want to collaborate with me. That's how you work on LinkedIn. Again, for free. The only thing you are investing on LinkedIn is you and your time. Do it wisely. Do it with simplicity, the chances are you will get a return on investment.
Thank you very much, Stella. I've just done the poll, and I hope you can see the result on the screen. We
Do
have,
you share content on LinkedIn?
yep, and we've got 22% coming up as often, 47 as rarely, and 31% as never. What do you have to say to this?
Again, it's really, really interesting. And again, I know a lot of you, probably everybody on here, well, you must have been on social media to be here, okay? Because that's how we've promoted this webinar. So if 47% of you are not putting out content there, then I question, what exactly are you doing on social media? I have attracted business even from Facebook, and I don't promote my business. I don't promote my sideline as a coach on Facebook, but I have generated leads on Facebook just by putting out content on my thoughts, on my teachings, on what I've done, my family, whatever it is. So it's, look, what I'm saying is that, and I know a lot of people here are Nigerians, and as a Nigerian, I know what I'm talking about when I say a lot of Nigerians waste time on social media, gossiping, and getting involved in business they don't need to get involved in, promoting the person who is attracting you to come and gossip. They're the ones making money on you wasting your time getting involved in business that doesn't concern you, while you're not promoting you, your business, or you looking for a job. If you're looking for a job, stop wasting time following influencers. Start looking at the industry you want to work in. Start engaging with the people in industry. Go and ask them questions. Go and ask them how to apply for a job. Stop wasting time on social media. You can spend hours, but on an evening, really ask yourself, how many hours have I spent on social media, and what has been the return on investment for me? And if I haven't learned anything, if there's nothing that has brought any value to me, if there's no return on investment financially, then I know that I've wasted a lot of time on social media. That's just my personal opinion on this. So Mary, do you want to?
Fantastic. Fantastic, Stella. Fantastic, Stella. Yeah.
Bit.
Thank you very much, Stella. That was just so amazing. And then when we come to the Q&A, Stella will probably answer more of your questions. But just before we get to that, I want to talk very quickly about psychological safety. Now, Stella already mentioned how it is important not to bring negative energy, how it is important not to be aggressive, you know, and throw people on social media. And this is what this is all about. What is psychological safety? It is the extent to which people feel safe in order, you know, in order for them to express themselves and speak up. So essentially, when we talk about psychological safety, the goal is that we create a fearless environment. And as you can see, it says environment. So be it a digital environment or be it a physical environment, be it at home or be it at work. How safe is the environment? How much of a feeling do you get in terms of, you know, whether it's negative or whether it is positive? That is what this is all about. Now, psychological safety is a group level phenomenon. In other words, it is the kind of emotion that you would experience when you are in a group. And that could be at work or it could be in a social setting. Why is psychological safety important and why are we talking about it in this context? Now, organizations today leverage teams. We all work in one team or the other, okay? Now, we all come into our organizations with, you know, very different capabilities, very unique capabilities. So it is important that we can come together and collaborate and leverage those capabilities. That's the mission. Now, if the environment is not safe, then it's difficult for people to speak up. It becomes difficult to share ideas. It becomes difficult to report mistakes. You know what we say, a stitch in time saves 9. It becomes difficult to challenge one another. Imagine a situation where your colleague has been working on something for like 48 hours and it's time to, review everything people have been doing for a while, and you are about to just tell me that what I've been working on for the past 48 hours is just, has gone off tangent, or it is totally the wrong thing. Can we all stay muted, please? Or that this is totally the wrong thing. It's not an easy challenge to actually engage with, is it? Or giving constructive criticism. So if an environment is not safe, it becomes difficult for me to challenge your work. It becomes difficult for me to, constructively criticize what you have done. But if the environment is safe, then we start to talk about radical candor, an environment where I can honestly give you my feedback and you wouldn't take any offense, okay? Because if we do not have radical candor, then the chances are people are going to just keep quiet, okay? And organizations today, they have their own collaborative space. Organizations are using Confluence, they are using Slack, they're using Microsoft Teams, they're using Jira. These are collaborative spaces in which these teams can work. So as you can see, these spaces are just like LinkedIn or Facebook, they are your social spaces where people are working and collaborating. It is important that there's psychological safety, not just within the digital space, but also within the environment as a whole, so that people can freely express themselves and contribute to what's going on. Otherwise, there will be fear of interpersonal risk. People will be afraid to speak up. They don't want to take the risk of speaking up because they are not sure if they are going to be embarrassed, if they are going to be, made fun of, or if they are going to be told, they look stupid, or if they ask for help, maybe people are going to say they are incompetent. You process all these things in your head when you're in a group. You want to ask a question, you're not so sure, but you're thinking, oh, should I raise my hand? If I ask, will they think I'm incompetent? I mean, this happens all the time. But if the environment is safe, then people will feel free to ask those questions. People will feel free to share their ideas, however rudimentary that idea may be, because they know that people will contribute positively to those ideas. So it is quite important. Now, bringing it back to the context of LinkedIn, it is important because right from LinkedIn, right from social media, you're being vetted. We are all being vetted right from the social media platforms we're on these days. Why? Organizations want to spend less. Recruitment is not cheap. It doesn't come cheap, okay? And not only that, organizations are more about who you are, not just your 2-1 or your first-class degree, because emotional intelligence is quite high on the qualities they are looking for. So if we talk about having these social spaces and we're talking about commenting, we're talking about content, we're talking about engagement, then of course it's the right place for recruiters to be. It is the right place for organizations to be, to come and vet, to come and spy on us, to see how we are engaging with one another, to come and see how emotionally intelligent we are. And this is so, so important to organizations because there is no organization today that is not leveraging teams. There is no way that you would satisfy the needs of customers today without having to use multiple teams, and you need to leverage on them and you need them to collaborate. So we are being vetted, I repeat, we are being vetted right from our social media platforms. So every time you're saying something, you're commenting, you're posting, just remember, you're leaving what we call a digital footprint. Okay? You are leaving behind a digital footprint. It's so important. So, as a potential employer, what will I find when I check you out digitally? This is not a case of if I check you out digitally, because I will check you out digitally. That's my first point of call as a recruiter or as an organization looking for new employees. What will I find if I check you out digitally? Will I find someone who is aggressive? Someone who is low on emotional skills, emotional or social skills? Someone who is always putting other people down? Or will I find someone who creates a space that is safe? Will I find someone who takes interest in the development of other people? So that is what we're looking for as employers. Who are you on social media? Because who you are on social media in the way you interact is who you really are, not your CV. I hope that makes sense. not your CV. That is where you come out. That is where the true you comes out. And like Stella keeps saying, you are selling you. So who do you want to sell? Okay, this is so important. So how do you contribute to psychological safety in all these social media platforms? Think before you comment. Why are you commenting? What impact are you, intending to make? What is the purpose of your comment? Are you trying to generate more interest, or are you just trying to make the person who put out the content feel silly? What value will your content add? It's very important that you ask yourself these questions. And then most importantly, what feelings will my comment generate for the person who wrote that content? What feeling will it generate? I mean, I've got just 3 points here, but there's so much more we can think about in terms of how we individually contribute to ensuring social media platforms are safe places in which we can all interact as professionals. LinkedIn in particular is a professional platform, but you will be surprised that sometimes you would think it's a playground for primary school children in the way some people communicate. And this is supposed to be a professional platform, okay? So for me as an agile coach, I work as an agile coach, and I, on a daily basis, work with teams. And for me, in order for organizations to get the best out of their teams, it is important that, they are operating in an environment that is safe. So one of the things I, look out for is, team dynamics. And I always help teams to ensure that, they are doing the right thing in terms of contributing to psychological safety. So this is so, so, so important. I can't stress on it enough. Organizations are vetting you on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. They are vetting you. Do not be surprised that some people have lost job opportunities because of their content on Facebook. People have lost, they have gone far only for organizations sometimes to see something on social media and for them to say, sorry, this is not what we're looking for. A journalist, some time ago, a journalist lost her job because of a comment she made on social media. So social media today, these are very important tools of our time, and it is important that we know how to use them. And like Stella said, what are you doing on social media? I'm on social media a lot, but I'm on it for the right reasons. And what those reasons are for you is up to you. But it's important that we review what we do on social media and how we, want to be seen, how we want to be perceived. Look at it as your personal branding. How do you want to brand yourself on social media? LinkedIn, be it Facebook. How do you want to come across? It's very important that we consider that. So at this point, I think we should then go to Q&A. If I go to the chat box, Ronke, you were supposed to be helping me today, and I believe you're already doing that. We're going to take some questions. It could be questions on psychological safety. It could be anything. Just fire away in the chat box.
Say, Mary, just before we start on the questions, one thing I got to say, with regards to you and your brand on LinkedIn, and I've just put it in chat, is have a unique hashtag. Have something, again, that somebody may remember you by. So my hashtag, and I use it on all my stuff, all my content now, is hashtag Stellalicious, hashtag keep it Stellaliciously simple, hashtag KISS. When people engage with me, they always use it back. So they always say, oh, that was Stellaliciously great, that was Stellaliciously simple. So now, even my hashtag has become a brand in its own way. When people don't even remember my name, they remember Stellalicious for some strange example. So I've had a couple of clients actually said, I couldn't remember your surname, but I found you through your hashtag on LinkedIn. So again, have a very unique, go and look at hashtags. Don't be generic. Don't go and copy other people. Find a hashtag that makes you you. So that's another good tip.
Thank you very much, Stella. We have a question here, Stella. As a multi-dimensional person involved in 2 or 3 things at the same time, how do I structure my profile without, I'm trying to see the rest of it. Oh, I've lost it now. Okay, how do I structure my profile without, oh, why is it not staying? Can you please pose that question again? It's okay, without coming off as too much.
Okay, nice question.
Yeah.
Very easy way to answer it is be you on LinkedIn. Look, I do different things, right? I work in Oman. I have my normal day job. I work as a coach. I work as a mentor, but I can do that within my one profile. So choose days, for example, choose days if you want to promote one business. But what your audience needs to be really clear about is who you are and what you're about. So start off with promoting what it is that is really bringing you your business, for example. And then after that, you can start bringing in all the other things. But you can do all that within one profile. So there's no point having you on one profile, having one business as another profile, having a second, third business, and you then have 10 profiles. You can, look, people buy into people. That's why business pages don't work on LinkedIn. So many people ask me this question, but I've got a business page, I want to promote it. You're wasting your time on LinkedIn. It might work on another platform, but on LinkedIn, business pages tend not to work because, again, and when you do think about it, it makes sense. People are buying into you first. So when they get to know you, when they get to know what you're about, when they get to know how you do business, how you conduct business, how you communicate with other business folk, the chances are they're going to ask you in any event, if you haven't put that in your profile, what it is you do. So then you can say, oh, and by the way, I coach. So the way I even do it, to that person who asked the question, another way of doing it is find content of the different industry that you are involved with. So if I'm in education and I want to talk about education, then I go and comment and engage in education. If I want to go and talk about and engage on mentoring, then I do that. So again, but I do it as a whole me, as one. I hope that makes sense.
Okay. Okay, somebody said, can I use a hashtag different from my name?
Yes, you can. But again, if you're doing that, I would say let people know who you are first.
Okay.
So if you're going to use your hashtag without names, then let it be relatable to what it is you're doing as a business. Don't just think of a hashtag from off the sky. Let that hashtag be related to what you do in business. It could be related to your name, but it's got to have a link. It's got to have a direct link to who you are as a business or a brand.
Okay. Another one here says, how do I handle my profile for a change of career?
Again, easy. What are you looking for in terms of changing your career? Then you need to let us know. You need to let us, your audience, know that, one, you may be looking for new opportunities, for example. So you go and do your background research in any sort of career you want to go and do, and align your profile to that new career. So that when I see you, I can say, oh, okay, you kind of have something to do with agile industry because you've mentioned the word agile in there. Your banner suggests that that's the career you're looking for. So again, you can change careers. You can tell people that you're looking for new opportunities. LinkedIn has produced a nice feature box. And again, I don't even use it, but I need to tidy up my LinkedIn. I'm here preaching about everybody sorting out their LinkedIn, and mine is a bit of a mess at the moment. Mm-hmm. But there's a nice feature box. And again, you can feature webinars you've done, your website, your whatever. It's a really, really useful tool that articles that you've written, if you're on other social media platforms. So again, there's so many facets of you putting yourself out and making you visible. The bottom line is it's about you first before your business, before your products, before your services. It's you that the audience and the public want to buy into first.
Okay. Another question, do you recommend people share photos or videos of things they may be doing in personal life to make it not only about work?
Yes. But again, when I'm talking about my personal life on LinkedIn, I somehow link it back to work. Okay, so Mother's Day is a very good example. I put out a video. I love, there was a video that I put out from YouTube, but it was done in an interview, office type post. So again, every time I'm writing about something personal, it automatically is embedded into the work that I do. So I just don't write something personal on LinkedIn. I link it back to a professional setting. But the answer to that question is yes, you can use videos. I've used people dancing on visit. Last week, I think it was last week, I posted about young kids who were dancing to Drake, if people saw it, okay? And I told a story because that was my story when I was growing up. I was dancing on the streets. And again, people could resonate about that because again, people could see that from how I was brought up to where I am now, it was a journey. It links back to where I am professionally. So you can link professional with personal. They marry really well together on LinkedIn.
Good. On social media, how do you handle people who are bent on bringing on negative energies, especially when the ideas are not from them?
Love it. And Samira was talking about this yesterday on her live. She was talking about friendships. And again, it kind of links. I have no time or energy, and I refuse to spend so much as 2 minutes talking about negative people in my space. Because by doing that, it almost suggests that I care about them. If we're going to spend the next 5 minutes talking about people who are being negative, I'm wasting my time because I care about them, if that makes sense. So all I do with those sort of negative people is so simple. I remove myself from that a negative energy. On social media itself, trust me, use the love heart button. Shower them with love, because a lot of the time that is what they're actually lacking within themselves. So that's all I do, and it works a treat. I don't get aggressive. I wish them a glorious day, and I just shower them with love. But please don't waste your time overthinking about those who are being negative. You're wasting. Go and put out good content. Don't engage.
Thank you, Stella. From Theophilus, does LinkedIn show my posts to my connections only or to everyone on LinkedIn?
Again, if you go to your settings, it really depends. So if you go to your settings on LinkedIn, you can share your post, you can make it public so that everybody sees it, or you can make it that only your connections see it. My advice, obviously, is to open it up to the world and their sister. Let everybody see who you are. Let everybody see how unique you are. Let everybody see how stellariously good I am at what I do as a trainer. So
fantastic.
How you attract different clients. People ask me about international work all the time. Well, if you're only connecting people in London, those are the people you're going to attract. But if you're talking to an international audience, then you're going to attract an international space for yourself to do work.
Next one from Inamdi. What kind of banner should a full-time employee use? Can we stay muted, please?
For full-time employees, with the permission of your organization, obviously, you can use your organization logo at the back of your banner, okay? Otherwise, you can put a banner that suggests what job you're in. So again, I say to you, can't speak to Justin Emerani, okay? Speak to him. He can create banners for you. Of course, there's going to be a small charge. Nothing in life is for free, apart from what me and Mary are doing right now. But there are people there who can create brilliant banners for you, okay? That can personalized banners. So I really suggest you connect with Justin as well.
Okay. Just looking to see what other questions we have. And I think this person is trying to talk about endorsement. Is it okay to use endorsements, especially to your friends?
Okay. I personally, on LinkedIn, I hate the
Oh, no, sorry, not endorsements, endearments. Like, you know, thank you, dear.
You mean when you're speaking on LinkedIn?
Yes.
Okay, what?
Hello, dear. How are you, dear?
Personally, no. Unless I'm very familiar with you, I will stick to using Stella.
Okay.
I would not stick to hello, dear, hello, sweetheart, none of those. Okay, this is still a professional platform. However, if I'm familiar with you, if we've been talking for a hot minute, if you're becoming what I call a virtual friend, then yes, of course. But again, think of your audience. I wouldn't necessarily go to a CEO and say hello, dear.
Okay.
No, it's
okay.
No.
However, we also want you to touch on endorsement. What can you say about endorsement?
So on LinkedIn, you have right at the bottom of your page, you have people endorsing you, okay, for various type of skills. But for me, it's a waste of time because I don't understand why people will endorse my skills when I haven't, one, worked with them or they don't know who I am. If you've been engaging with me on LinkedIn for a very long time, then of course go and endorse that. Maybe you think I'm good at training, or maybe you think I'm good at leadership. That makes sense to me. But people endorsing and just making sure that they've got the figures and numbers, to me, is a waste of time. And again, those who know me on LinkedIn know that I'm not about playing the numbers game. I don't go around chasing a viral post. I don't go around chasing millions and millions of followers. That's not how I work on LinkedIn, because that for me sometimes will not generate the leads that I need. So I focus my energies on the connections that I have, on the connections that I know, and building a working relationship with them. What I do endorse on LinkedIn is recommendations. So for example, over 100 people have come onto this webinar. Go onto my LinkedIn, go onto Mary's LinkedIn, write a recommendation, tell your connections about the webinar we just gave. Already a few people have done that for me on LinkedIn. I've just clicked and boom, I've already seen really, really nice recommendations. So recommendations are very, very powerful. So for example, if I now want to sell this product to a potential client, I can then go to the client and say, look, go and look at LinkedIn, go and look at the recommendations. Yep. So recommendations are very, very powerful. Endorsements, not so much.
I've just taken a poll, Stella, and you have done a fantastic job. 84% are very satisfied, 18% satisfied. So well done. Thank you very much.
I'm kind of disappointed that it wasn't 100% very satisfied, but I will live with 84%. I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
We will do better next time, I guess.
we will strive to get 100%.
100%, Stella, because it's very satisfied and satisfied. Put it together, I think it's 100%.
Mercy, thank you, my friend. Thank you.
And one more poll, please. I need you to take a minute to look at this and to actually think about it. Have you ever resorted to keeping quiet because of a previous experience where you felt embarrassed or humiliated? At least once or twice, a few times, too many to recall maybe? This is talking about silence when voice was possible. I want you to think about it because for me, again, as an agile coach, psychological safety is so important. So what's the poll like? Let me launch the poll. I'm going to launch the poll. Have you ever resorted to keeping quiet because of a previous experience where you felt embarrassed or humiliated? As you can see, this is a problem. This is a problem. I'm just going to end the poll now and share that with you. I've got 41% saying at least once or twice they've kept quiet, 37% a few times, and 22% too many to recall. Now, I just want you to take a moment and just imagine for a moment. Silence where voice was possible. In other words, you have been silent when you could have added value. You have been silent probably when somebody's life could have been saved. Imagine a nurse and a surgeon. Imagine a nurse feeling, you know what, the doctor or the surgeon has just missed a critical step, or the dosage is too low or it's too high, and the nurse is afraid to speak up. Imagine the potential consequence of that. So when we talk about psychological safety, it is a serious issue. And we need to go away from here. I really want us to go away from this seminar today thinking, you know what, how often do I contribute to creating a safe environment? This is just what I want to achieve with this poll.
And can I add to that,
Yes.
Mary?
Yes, please.
What I say to people based on that is, guys, leave it in the past. What has been done, what has been said, has been done and has been said. Start over. Just literally, let it go. Start again. You will build a new network of people who are going to support you. Come and connect with me on LinkedIn. Come and connect with Mary on LinkedIn. We support our connections. We drive them to
Share your links. Should I share both your links now?
Please do that.
Please, Mercy. Mercy is going to share our links for you guys to connect with us on LinkedIn. As I said, there are other few people I am going to mention that you should definitely be following on LinkedIn. These, in my eyes, are LinkedIn superstars. They haven't got millions of followers, but trust me, they are superstars to me on LinkedIn. John Esperian, oh my gosh, he's my go-to. Anytime there's something on LinkedIn, I send him a DM. John, can you help me with this? What is that? Boom, he responds. Jessica Jones. Jessica Jones was a connection. I actually met, we planned a trip to New York together. We went on a long weekend to New York. I had never met Jessica in my life. We went to New York together. Colin Tansley, Terry Corral, Reed. Oh my gosh, this lady is a Jamaican lady. Go and connect with her, not necessarily on LinkedIn, go on her Instagram. The value this lady brings is, oh my gosh, I love her to bits. And I had the pleasure of working with Terry in Singapore last year. So she's become a really, really good friend. I think she's got over 200,000 followers on Instagram, but literally she knows her network. She knows her Insta family.
Thank you very much, Stella. Can I just very quickly attend to a comment from Martins? It's on psychological safety. I've just lost it now. Well, what he's saying is that it is up to organizations to create a safe environment. I don't agree with you at all. When you're in a team, it doesn't matter how great the environment is. If you're in a team and the individuals within the team do not see it as their responsibility also to contribute to psychological safety, I'm afraid then it wouldn't be a safe environment. When we talk about psychological safety, what exactly are we talking about? It is how we connect with one another, how we relate with one another, okay? So take, for example, you're my colleague and we're working together and I show you something and you just shut me down. What can the boss in his office do about that? It is how you relate with me and how I relate with you, how we relate with one another within the team. I'm talking about team dynamics now, okay? So the organization would try their best to make sure that people are trained, to make sure they are working in the right environment, to make sure that they have all the tools, for, you know, in order for them to do their job properly. But ultimately, group dynamics comes to how we all contribute to that environment. So I'm afraid it's everybody's responsibility. Leadership, organization at large, but everybody needs to contribute to psychological safety. I just thought I'll take that, Stella. And talking about the group, I believe Ronke Adebayo has posted the links for Niger Professional Group. This is the reason we exist. It's a value-driven ecosystem. For those of you who were not here when I talked about it, it's a melting pot for Nigerian professionals, and our ultimate mission or vision is to actually promote professionalism, collaborate with one another, give of our expertise and just do our little bit for our country, Nigeria. But every time we organize a webinar like this, it will be open to everybody. But as much as possible, we want to come together to start collaborating and start leveraging on one another. And of course, it is also a place where you can come and showcase your expertise, just like Stella is doing right now. And there's so much more coming, in the pipeline. So I just thought I'll talk about that. And just before we go, if we don't have any more questions, I would like to take a selfie. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen.
While we're taking selfie, I'd like to say thank you, Stella, again. It was Stella-liciously insightful.
I like that, Mercy. Thank you.
I look forward to That's my LinkedIn. Please follow me. Let's meet together. I don't even like the
Please, you can unmute yourselves now. I don't mind. The session is ended, and I'm just going to take some selfies here. If you just bear with me. Mercy, I can't see your face.
Oh no, you have to.
Please,
Stella,
please use your cameras. You can use your cameras now. I'm just going to try and take as many as I can. If you want to be in the selfie, please just open your camera.
Everybody checking the hair. Everybody checking the makeup. We're all looking good.
checking the hair.
Okay. Okay. If you want to join, I'm just going to snap it now. Okay. And I'm going to go to the next screen. We've got 6 screens in total. I'm taking this screen now. Thank you. Bear with me. I'm on screen 5 now. Screen 4. Yes.
Thank you for staying to take the selfie, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
you're welcome.
yes.
I hope all of you are going to connect with us on LinkedIn. I want to see.
Thank you so much, Stella. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you. List of everybody that